Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
Oh, I can't hear you, dude.
I'm Mike Butler.
And you're watching Forgotten Cinema,
Technical issues.
now showing what? What did you say? Technical issues? Heck of a start.
Can you hear me?
I can. Great start, dude. Great start. Let me just get this comment in here so I can show everyone
what you're saying.
You can't see. Hang on. I know I'm functioning. Yeah, I'm working.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
You did this last time with your headphones.
I can kind of hear you. You're very quiet.
I don't know. I mean, I'm plugged in and I did my audio check as usual, per the norm.
Talk again.
I am talking.
Jesus.
Hang on. I'm going to.
Can you hear me now?
Not just as bad. It's just as much as I was before, but now you're echoey.
It's you. It's not me because I just changed.
All right. Hold on.
I'm going to assume that everyone else can hear me, so I will talk to them, the people out there, the audience, if they can hear me. Hey, everyone. Mike can't hear me, but you can. You see behind me? You see we got our new studios being built. Hopefully it'll look really nice once everything's put up and painted and stuff like that. So I had to watch Roadhouse today because I was not able to watch it earlier or yesterday because I started watching Heat. So fun fact, Michael Mann, and I wish I had the book in front of me because I would start pimping it, but there's a sequel it's a sequel and a prequel to the movie Heat, the 1995 movie Michael Mann directed with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. And the book starts off right after the events of the movie. So I love that movie. And so I started reading the book. And so if you remember the movie, remember how it ends. This book starts off where it follows the Val Kilmer character, Chris, and the aftermath of what happened to him. And then what happens is the book jumps back to 1988, which is like 7 years prior to the events of this movie. And it talks about it follows Chris's life leading up to it. And then I think it jumps ahead because I haven't gotten this far, jumps beyond the events to 2000. So I'm really interested in the book and I wanted to rewatch the movie. So last night I was going to go to bed and then the gunfight scene came on where they're in downtown LA and they're just going at it with assault rifles, which is a great scene. It's probably, one of the best gunfight scenes in cinema, probably definitely in modern day cinema, but in cinema totally. So that's why I had to watch Roadhouse today, almost 4 or 5 hours before we did this, because I chose to watch Heat last night. So are you working now, Mike? No one can hear you, man. No one can hear you. Oh, you're muted.
I muted myself because I didn't want to hear people hear me fussing around. But yes, I am back. I'm good.
Excellent. So I hope I entertain the audience with my story of reading Heat 2.
We're up and running. So I'm gonna.
Yes,
if
finally.
you're fast forwarding through it, this means you're good to go. This is where you can stop and start listening.
I have like a hair in my glasses. So what's going on?
Nothing, I been
Should
feeling
I,
pretty
should I
down.
redo the opening? Should I
No,
redo the high as Mike Field?
Nah, it's all right. I've been feeling pretty down lately. I actually I let a guy stab me in the gut after collecting a whole bunch of money, and then let myself almost get hit by a train, but decided, maybe not. And
Not today.
headed down to the
Is that what he-
Florida Keys.
Yeah, or the
No, he
DR
says-
as where they shot it.
he says
didn't-
maybe not. He goes, maybe not.
Oh, that's right. Maybe not. Okay. Yeah. So yes, we're here to talk about the new Roadhouse, the 2024 version that is on Prime Video, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and a variety of other people. Yes, Conor McGregor, which we'll get into. We watched. So if you are a Patreon member, you might have seen the lead up episode we watched, which is we actually watched the original Roadhouse, the 1989 version with Patrick Swayze. There's a lot of callbacks to that movie in this, including the plot. So which is fine. But so we kind of watched that, which Butler had never seen before. So if you're interested in that is a Patreon exclusive. So you'd have to join our community, which I highly recommend you do, because we have got a ton of content coming in the next like 3 or 4 months. I mean, we were just talking about, I think we should, I'm going to say it now, Mike. So
Okay.
like we are going to do a lead up series for the Apes movies, for the, what is it? Planet of the Apes. What is it? I don't even know the names of them. The new ones. Cause I've never seen them.
For the Planet of the
Right.
Apes and something else. I should know, cause I love them, but yeah.
So we are doing those 3 leading up to a now showing episode of the new one that's coming out in May. And then, because I just offhandedly said to Butler, I jokingly that, because we were talking about the new Aliens trailer that came out, Aliens Romulus, right? Alien
Right, yep.
Romulus. And I was just like, well, and then he's like, I love Prometheus. And then we just started talking. And Mike's like, we should do all those. So then that's going to be another series we're doing, which I guess we're doing the AVP ones in there. So that'll be
if we have to do answer the call for our Ghostbusters lead up, we have to do AVP for
Lovely.
our aliens.
So we'll be doing that. Those are that lead up series is part of the Patreon exclusive. So you have to join the Forgotten Cinema community on patreon.com/Forgotten Cinema in order for you to be part of that. But this is what we do. We just talk movies, and it's a free flowing conversation. I highly recommend you join the community, because we love interacting with everybody. So it'd be awesome if when we do those, we can actually get feedback, live feedback, and just kind of be able to talk with you guys about movies. So, but we're not here to talk about that. That's what we're doing. We got a lot of stuff coming. That's my pitch. We're here to talk about Roadhouse, the Prime Video Roadhouse 2024. I know we usually start off the main show, the Forgotten Cinema show, the podcast where I'm just always like, Mike, what'd you think? So, I mean, I guess without having any kind of flair for originality, Mike, what'd you think?
I am so all over the place with this movie. I mean, it is like, I think I enjoyed watching it, but it is an absolute garbage pile, steaming pile of dog doo-doo, but the kind that I used to love in like the early 2000s. If Roadhouse exemplifies everything that was maybe wrong, but in the cultiest of great ways with 80s action cinema, Roadhouse is kind of everything that was wrong if like an early 2000s kind of movie.
Can you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you give me
Right.
a comp to like an early 2000 films that you're kind of thinking about when you're watching this? If you don't, I hate putting you on the spot like that, but if you do, it'd be awesome.
I mean, like the remake of Point Break, was
Okay.
probably one of them.
Come on. Wait a minute. That's like 2015, isn't it? Regardless, come on.
But I'm not saying they're good. That's why it exemplifies those
Sure,
kind of
sure,
movies that were just always on. Like, or like, let's say the DMX kind of the movie with DMX as like a cop, where he's investigating with like Steven Seagal or something. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Oh, not Belly. Seagal wasn't in that.
Like those kind of movies that are just they're in theaters, but they're just a step beyond like movie, like DVD bin, and they're going in the DVD bin probably in a couple months afterward. Those
Exit
kind of
wounds,
movies. That's what.
Exit wounds.
Exit wounds.
Exit wounds.
Which I used to like when I was watching it when I was like obviously 12 or 13. Like obviously.
Listen, I love me some DMX. I can't. What's the name of the movie? Because it's every time we talk about DMX, I always bring it up, and it's a Chris Rock movie. He directed it, and I believe it's called Take 5, but I think that's wrong. Chris, I'm gonna look it up right now because DMX has a scene in that movie where he Chris Rock's character is in jail. Top 5. That's what it's called. Top 5.
Okay.
Not Take 5. And DMX has a scene with Chris Rock. Chris Rock's in like jail for some reason, like he just gets picked up or something, and DMX is in there, and there's like they have this scene, and it's like DMX is awesome in the scene. I love it. I love it. So I always recommend Top 5. So I got to remember that movie because I always say it wrong. But go ahead.
So it kind of reminded me of those, but it's just kind of like Roadhouse. It never gets schlocky enough, and for every time I go, oh yeah, it goes back down to kind of being like, no. So I mean, obviously, I'm coming from a place where I just saw Roadhouse, so I don't have any love for Roadhouse that I'm sure a lot of our other viewers are going to, and I know I'm probably going to catch flack with that. But Roadhouse isn't a great movie. It has some great scenes, but it's not. It's not as amazing.
Butler.
It's become a cult classic because everyone's like, because it's like The Room is a cult classic.
So bad it's good. No, it's not like The Room, but I hear what you're saying.
It's not like The Room, but it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't have that kind of nostalgia love for it. I appreciated the 80s-ness of it, but I don't have that kind of nostalgia love going into this. So I'm sure a lot of people who are going to hate on this movie for maybe reasons that doesn't deserve it are going to hate on it for that like hatred that it's not hitting the right nostalgia beats for them. But the things I don't like about it are the style choices where it's just all over the place. And I'm somebody who really likes Doug Liman films. Usually I do like Jake Gyllenhaal. I know he's got a lot of haters out there for his early work. But yeah,
early work, like what work? Which ones? Like what work?
Like Prince of Persia, like when he started blowing up, but before he went to do stage.
Sure.
We talk about a bunch on the podcast.
We talk about this. Me and you talk about this all the time, and I have the same conversation with my wife sometimes because she doesn't like Ben Affleck. And first of all, I love Ben Affleck. She doesn't like Ben Affleck. But the fact that because she hates Armageddon, and I'm like, I said the same thing to her. I'll say Prince of Persia. I'm sorry, but like you're gonna take that paycheck. If you were up and coming, like Prince of Persia was a big movie, you're gonna say yes to that movie because saying yes to that movie gets you other movies that you might want to do, but also it solidifies you. It's a possibility of solidifying you as a star. So you're going to say yes to that movie. You have to, just like Ben Affleck has to say yes to Armageddon and all that stuff. So I understand that you can't really. The one thing about Jake Gyllenhaal, I think we've talked about on the main show, is that he left. He kind of went and did some Broadway stuff. He did some theater, and he came back and he did like Nightcrawler, and he came back and he did Enemy, which we did for Why the Book Wins podcast. So he came back and did like a lot of these, like they're not like, they weren't indies, but they were like smaller films, but like films that he wanted to do, chose to do. And so he's done real, and he's awesome in not Moonlight Mile. That's not that is the name of the movie, Moonlight Mile. That's with Dustin Hoffman. He's great in that. And that was the younger one. And then and the one that October Sky, he's really good in that. So I don't buy the Jake Gyllenhaal hate because he is a solid actor. And I mean, he gets a little crazy here with his lifting routine in this one. But but that's fine. But I don't get the hate because I really do like him.
Oh, me too.
Look at your mom.
Hey, Ma. He does seem like a down-to-earth nice guy.
Unlike you, Butler.
But I think he is a great actor. I don't know if my mom's seen Nightcrawler, which isn't a
He's
great
not
movie.
good in that. He's not a nice guy in that.
He's not a nice guy in that, but he's really good in that, even though I don't really like the movie that much.
We liked Enemy. We both liked Enemy.
Enemy's very good.
Yeah.
And he's both a nice guy and not a nice guy in that.
This is true.
But yeah, so I don't come at it from like a position of hating either of those things, or hating Jake Gyllenhaal, or hating that it's ruining my nostalgia for Roadhouse. But I just think the movie is all over the place. But I did have fun with it, I guess. I never was like, it's 2 hours, but I never really felt like it was 2 hours because there was always something new in the movie, which was good.
My biggest thing with the film was I kept third act problems. Like when we got to the third act, 100%. And it was like, and I was like, what's happening? Like there were decisions being made and choices being made and just character decisions. And I was like, this makes no sense. And I could say third act problems, but honestly, it's probably more second act and third act problems because second act doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't lead to anything where you kind of, you like when you're watching a movie, with the exception of a mystery or something like a film noir where there's going to be a double cross, stuff like that. When you're watching this type of film, you kind of know where it's going. You kind of know what's happening,
Right.
and what where we're leading to. But this film, it's just the second act just meanders, and it's just like he gets there, he gets to the bar in the first act. He's there, he's going to start fighting, and he's going to start protecting the bar, and then second act rolls around. It's like a bunch of montages. It's more fights. It's we got to get him. We got to send more guys after him. We got to do this, and then they introduce Knox, which is the Conor McGregor character, and you're like, okay, here's his main antagonist, and that kind of fizzles a little bit. They have that one fight, and then
He
they have
goes
the
away
second
and does a
fight,
whole bunch of
but
stuff. The second fight comes out of nowhere.
and Knox is just doing whatever. Like the whole thing at the end when he gets to the boat to get to their boat, and he gets to, I don't know why he's going to the house. I don't know why he's in a student driver car drinking coconuts, because all I'm thinking is like he's gonna have to pee really quick, like because that's a lot of coconuts. And he's just like, where is everybody? And I'm like, and then you know that they're on a boat in the middle. I like, it's stuff like that. It was just like, okay, now we're just making decisions that make no sense. So you don't have a nostalgia for the first one. I kind of do. It's so bad it's good.
Right.
And there's a lot of callbacks to that. And
I appreciated the callbacks,
but it pretty much follows the plot of the original in terms of like how he gets there. I'm like, even like little scenes I was surprised that I kind of had, like the scene that we talked about in the original one where he first arrives and then the waitress shows, this is from the Patrick Swayze
gets him breakfast.
Gets him breakfast. They do that scene here, and I'm like, and then I'm like, is the bartender going to start singing now too? Is she going to get behind the screen and start singing? Like I didn't understand that. What else was there something in there that you appreciated more, or you liked that they kind of looked to the double deuce sign in the background that was next to the bookshop? Did you catch that?
The double deuce was nice. I mean, I like that they actually call it the Roadhouse, and they kind of make a point of making fun of the fact that it wasn't called a Roadhouse in the first movie. Obviously, I like that they kind of kept the music the same for the most part, and obviously there was the cage around the band, although it never came down. I like that kind of stuff.
It wasn't a very good cage.
No, it was open on the side, so someone clearly, like at the beginning, throws a beer bottle at a guy.
Yeah.
And then Conor McGregor just rips it open. Although Conor McGregor apparently in this film has the strength of 35 men. Yeah, Knox. And walks like he's got poop in his pants.
I think that's just how so when
it's an exaggerated version of how he walks, but yeah.
I was gonna say, but I will say this, that his character introduction is how you introduce a character in a movie. Like I don't know if we talked about this, but I might have read something or I might have watched something that the art of introducing your main character, your main antagonist, has kind of like gone by the wayside. Like a lot of filmmakers don't know how to introduce a character because they just don't understand it. Like, you know, like just a good way to intro somebody. Like his introduction is a really good introduction. It just he doesn't live up to it in terms of his character, not his acting. Just his character doesn't really live up to like what we expected, you know?
I almost think that's because he comes in too late. Which, like you said, he only has the two fights. The second fight's kind of like, let's throw him into the final fight just to have him. But I mean, if you introduce him earlier in Act 1, because I think he comes in too late in Act 1, or Act 2 rather. I'm sorry. You have him come in toward the beginning of Act 2, give him more stuff to do, have him and introduce him in Italy where he is. That's a good, like you said, it's a good scene, but he needs more interaction with the characters. He needs to be more of a thorn in Dalton's side, and he really just kind of is.
Yeah, and the whole idea that he is from the father of Billy Magnuson's character, Brant, that his dad's in prison and Brant is taking over what his dad was doing, which is basically just he wants to put one giant luxury resort. Yeah. Right. The whole island, like if you look at the plans, the whole island is going to be the resort, not just like where the Roadhouse is, everything. Which is a pretty big resort, but okay. So he's taking over his dad's plans, but then his dad is like, "Here, screwing it up. I'm gonna." He sends Knox in because he's got spies everywhere. The whole father character subplot is just kind of tossed in there, and it only serves the purpose of what happens to Brand at the end of the movie, which makes no sense. And then just the fact that Knox shows up, which honestly makes no sense. So that whole thing is just. odd. But I wanted to talk about the Dalton character, because there's a big difference with this character than the Swayze one. They both have a checkered past. They both have that kind of like they killed somebody but didn't mean to in their past. My problem, or not my problem, but you don't set it up. I find it hard to. Well, that was weird. I find it hard to believe that this Dalton character is somebody that could be pushed to the edge of he would just murder people, because the Patrick Swayze Dalton character is somebody who has been a cooler. He's been a bouncer. He's somebody that we're supposed to know and assume that he's somebody that has had to fight and scratch his entire life to get to where he was. Like he's destitute. He's poor. He has one car. He just pays cash. He doesn't have any ties to anything. He travels the country, walks the earth, kind of thing. That's his character. So the fact that, but he got out of control and he killed somebody, and he knows that he can't go to that place. He doesn't want to go to that place. So at the end of the first movie, while it is ridiculous, polar bear fell on me, that ending is ridiculous. It's more believable than this Dalton character, because this Dalton character is a UFC fighter who kills a guy in the ring, in the octagon, but it's, clearly just gets out of hand. That doesn't translate to somebody, his character in this movie, who goes, you don't want to get me to a place because then I'm going to do things, I'm going to kill people and I'm going to do things. I don't get that. I don't get that from his background as a UFC fighter to what happened to him to this, because they don't show anything in between that. You know what I mean? Like they show a guy who's clearly now depressed, and somebody who, is just down on his luck, but they don't show that one scene where he goes to fight, which I didn't realize was Post Malone. In the beginning of the movie, I'm like,
oh, you didn't realize that?
I did, and then I'm like, is that him? Is that him? I kept saying to go, that's got to be him, right? And so that one scene doesn't do it for me. Like I need to see something in between, like what happens to him after the UFC fight. Now, granted, I'm asking for a 3-hour film, but that's my one kind of comment about the differences between the Dalton characters. I know that's not fair to do that with a remake like this. It's inevitable that you're going to do that. But in and of itself, in this film, I don't believe that this Dalton character would get to the point where he just starts killing people and breaking people's hyoid bones and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I guess. I guess I believe you. I guess I believe that it is hard to kind of believe he would get to that point, because he does regret what he did. But he does have that moment where the doc is trying to ask him where he comes from. He comes from Montana. He doesn't want to talk about where he comes from. And what I got was that, like, maybe he's had a worse life than just that one UFC fight. Like maybe UFC's where he went to channel that anger and that power. But I get that you don't see that. Like you said, you'd want to see more. But at the same time, when he does cross that threshold and he starts killing people, when he breaks the hyoid bone, I was like, yes, finally, let's go. Because I was like,
and I am
what
too.
I hated about like the last one, when you don't get to see him take anybody out. It's just you walk through and all the people are out, which you kind of like 10 other guys later. But I like that we actually see that, because that's a payoff. I've been watching this movie for 2 hours, waiting for him to beat the crap out of people. And now I actually get to see it. Whereas in Roadhouse, you get one big fight and then the old man beats the crap out of him.
Listen, and I like that scene too. When he breaks his neck, or breaks the bone. I think, you know what, maybe we need that kind of like that Sam Elliott character to come in there and give us backstory on Dalton.
I was waiting for like
he's not a prima donna UFC fight, because I'm not saying UFC fighting is, soft. Not at all. I would not do it, and that's great. Not my thing. I'm not fighting. I'm not saying that, but they are like pomp and circumstance a lot of times. Like they talk about like, oh, he was your friend, or that kind of thing. There is that kind of like, it's like a respectful, like it's like boxing almost, but obviously not. But it's that kind of like, camaraderie. That's the word I was looking for. I think we just need some character to come be like, well, you don't know what he's been through since then. And then we kind of, and it's going to be an expo dump, but we need it. I think we need it here to kind of buy the fact that, okay, he's done some serious stuff, and they're going to push him to where I want to see that. So
Yeah.
we, because quite honestly, even though they kind of tell you at the end that it doesn't happen, he murders another guy. So he murders like Knox like pretty quick, but obviously no, because he walks off. I think maybe that's what I think. I just need something like that. If it's an expo dump, it's an expo dump. But I kind of buy into the fact that this Dalton would do these things at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I just enjoy that he does do that. Like, I enjoy him setting up the cop and putting the bullets in. He's like, yeah, like they're gonna find out it's you. Yeah, maybe. All right. It's like he just doesn't care. And
what
I
did you
kind of
think
like
about? What did you think about the father, the cop? That whole thing, with the daughter, the same thing like they did in the first one with the love interest, which is the doctor. What did you think about that whole thing?
I hated the whole I didn't understand like any of it. I thought that it just didn't make any sense. Like, first of all, they're lifelong Florida residents, but they clearly have the heaviest Portuguese accents. And you know what? I making like I'm fine with them being Portuguese, but they can't be lifelong Florida resident. At least she can't have the accent. If he's gonna have the accent, like she's lived in Florida all her life, somehow she's kept that super heavy accent. I don't buy it. And like he's dirty, but he's not dirty. Or my daughter's been kidnapped, and then his daughter's actually kidnapped, and he still doesn't really seem to really care. But then at the end, all of a sudden, he comes in and goes, "Listen, Dalton, I got all this cleaned up. Why don't you just get out of here?" Like, where is this coming from? No.
Yeah.
How are you cleaning this up? You're dirty, and your source of pay is gone. I don't get any of that. I think the doc was kind of shoehorned in. I would actually have rather had Dalton and I can't remember her character's name, the owner of the Roadhouse, just kind of get together. Like, I don't need Frankie. I don't need like a shoehorned Doc back in here that you don't really need her. I think she was kind of superfluous, because if they kidnap Frankie, the owner of the Roadhouse, and all of a sudden she's dead, then Dalton's still got to go save her. It makes more sense to capture her than some girl he's been on one date with. It just doesn't make a lot of sense plot wise for me. I would make it a much more like insular, like kind of like, oh, this part of the plot, if Frankie was both the owner of the Roadhouse and someone Dalton was with.
I think we're also seeing probably a lot of subplot threads that are from previous versions that didn't make that, just they kind of kept in there. Like,
I wonder how many versions of Roadhouse remake scripts are there.
I mean, I know this originally started as a movie with Ronda Rousey in the lead, and she dropped out of the, so this was in the works for a while. So I'm wondering if a lot of this stuff was just kind of kept in there. Like, again, with the third act stuff, the complication of having the sheriffs be a, I mean, you can have the dirty sheriff, but the fact that he's the father of the love interest,
very convenient,
Ellie, it just doesn't make any sense, and he's just so again, they're so dirty and they don't care. They're just gonna
shoot him in the boatyard.
Yeah.
How does she know that they took him to the boatyard anyway? Is that where he kills all of his people?
I don't. Yeah. So that all that stuff is just the Billy Madison character, his whole Ben Brandt's character, his whole thing is just, I don't understand. So there's a lot of stuff I just don't. I think we're missing stuff that's just not in there. I think the movie starts off great. I think it's got a lot of good action. It's got a lot of good fight scenes. It's got a lot of good just kind of moments. But then when you start it's got, oh, that looks great. When you start kind of digging into the story, it's just all over the place, and it's really tough to kind of maintain. And that's why when I say third act problems, they're really more second act issues, because nothing is set up for the third act.
Yeah, fun fact, and I know, again, people watching this are gonna be like, rah, rah, rah. The original Roadhouse has the same freaking problems. The original Roadhouse has the same story problems, but everyone ignores it because it's a cult classic. And while it does have some other better moments, like it needs that Sam Elliott character and stuff, I feel like this is just as bad as Roadhouse, but in a different time. So where Roadhouse came out in 1989, we're 35 years away from that. The audience doesn't accept some of the things that were okay in Roadhouse's time, but are no longer okay here. but maybe that's purposeful to try to be more like Roadhouse, the original, be more like an 80s movie.
Pint disagrees.
I do think this movie sucks, but
They
I
agree.
think Roadhouse.
Do you think it sucks with that many U's though? Do you
I
think it
don't.
sucks with that many U's?
Because would he say that that the original Roadhouse also sucks with that many U's? Because it does. If you're coming at it not having grown up with it, and I love 80s movies, Roadhouse also sucks, but it's also enjoyable. Roadhouse, I will say 1989's Roadhouse is more enjoyable than this, but it's not like by a ton.
I mean, okay. I mean, we laugh at. I mean, first of all, I think it's really cute with John and Lloyd. And they get the arms around each other. That's nice. That's sweet. I mean, like, we don't get the hokey dialogue of like, I brought a J.C. Penney, to this town. You know, like we didn't get like a lot of those hokey lines. I think any of those types of lines
you get some hokey lines from like the nice guy, biker guy.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Knox obviously has a lot of cheap lines, and then it seems like it's completely 80-yard, but like Knox and Dalton have lines to each other while they're fighting that just sound like shoehorned in.
Oh man, his last line
the piano sounds a little out of tune.
Oh, I hated that line. I hated that. Like, I hated that. Like, I know that Dalton's tough. I know he's tough, but he's taking full-blown shots to his head, like from a massive individual, and he's just like nothing phases him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't know how you're doing that. Like, I hated that line at the end of the movie. I couldn't stand that line.
Now, I don't know if this bothers you, but it always bothers me whenever you get a movie like Rocky or Jake Gyllenhaal Southpaw, which is another good Gyllenhaal movie, or you get like, I think I just said Rocky, any movie or like this, any movie with a fight.
Hit in the back of the head, your short-term memory all messed up.
It's all messed up.
I don't want to cut you off. I'm going to go back to that, but go ahead.
Yeah, any of these movies with fighters.
Creed.
Why does no one has cauliflowered ears? I'm sorry. I know you want to make your main guy like a pretty boy, but you got to give him some damage.
Hollywood, dude.
This is like fighters. It always bothers me. But then you have fighters playing against them, and they all have cauliflowered ears. It's like, why does McGregor's
because they're the bad guys? The bad guys have to look ugly.
UFC.
This is Hollywood 101.
That always kind of bothered me. Like, the face is what counts. Just give them a little bit of stuff on theirs.
So you want some ugly mug to be the lead in
I
this
want
type of movie?
I want them to at least show, just like a little bit of cauliflowering around there. I just want to see that they're a fighter. Like I just don't buy that they're fighters.
Hey Jake, we want you to get ripped for this film. Oh, I can't wait, Doug. I can't wait. But listen, we're gonna gross you up a little. We're gonna give you nasty ears.
A little bit.
We don't care what your public says.
It doesn't need a bet nose or anything. Just a little bit. It doesn't make any sense for him to have like, oh, he pulls up his shirt and he's all scarred. He's a UFC fighter. He's not a knife fighter. He's not like a ninja. It's not the Wolverine where he pulls like it just doesn't make sense to me that's where'd you get those scars? UFC. How? No, he's getting shanked in every bar fight he's going into.
That goes back to what we talked about with the whole Expo dump thing. I think that goes right along those lines. Never mind that. Like, he gets stabbed in the gut, and he's just like, "Oh,
you want your knife back?"
God, I got it. I'm sorry, but like, you don't have a visceral like you. I know you don't want to get mad until you murder somebody, but like, you can get a little annoyed that you just got stabbed in the gut. You could like punch the guy in the face or something.
I was so sure the guy had stabbed him in the money that I was like, okay, that's why he's not being affected.
In the money.
Well, because he's got a hoodie on, so I thought he stabbed him in the money in his pocket, and I was like, okay, that's why he's not being affected. And then he's like, nope.
Maybe.
As soon as I pull this out, there's gonna be a lot of blood.
One of the other subplots I didn't like, which could probably go along to the lines of the pints this movie sucks, is that the whole girl at the bookshop and the father, like why? I don't. As soon as she starts talking about the tree at the beginning of the movie, I'm just like, no, I don't care about this. I don't care about any of this. Like, this makes no sense. And like I just I don't get that part.
It's to give him, they probably read the script and were like, listen, he can't care about the doc. He needs somebody else to go back for. He's not going back for the doc, which makes sense because he's not. But that's why you have him fall for Frankie, and actually that whole place has meaning to him.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a forced love interest, and it's really not a love interest. It's one date. They don't do the whole thing they did in the original Roadhouse, which is prevalent in the 80s and 90s, which was the love interest, and then they meet and then they hook up, and they're
Right.
not going to do that here because we don't do that in modern cinema these days. I get that. It doesn't make any sense. But there's really no to me, if you're not going to do that, which is fine, you need to have more of an emotional connection with the doc. And to your point, there's no way to do that unless you make the movie longer. So instead, instead of doing the bogus love interest, which nobody likes, we're going to do the bogus I like kids stuff like that. You're just replacing one for the other.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't
Absolutely.
and yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. And I just don't like, I don't get it. Like again, it's like, that's like a completely different movie. Like that whole like is like, and I didn't like the whole Western thing that she kept talking about. Like, oh, you're kind of like this Western. Just stop.
Yeah.
No, don't. The movie can be that. You don't have to reference it. The movie can be that without having a precocious kid in there, having to like have look at the things she says. Nobody care. I don't care. I don't care about that. that whole thing. I didn't care. They burn it down, and it was like, where are they? Oh, they're in the hospital. Doesn't visit them. We don't see him visit them.
We don't know if they're okay, if they're not okay.
Yeah.
Like I was waiting for him to go visit the hospital bed and find out like she's in really bad condition, and that's what like pushes him over the edge.
Right.
But he's like,
two guys burn that down.
You need to get out of there, sir. Yeah.
Two guys.
First of all, who let him in there?
I know, but only one pays the price for it. It's almost like that
he stacks like 8 bodies in that pickup truck, bro.
No, he doesn't. There's only one.
I thought it's bodies in that pickup truck. It's just the one guy.
He's got the one guy, and then he goes to get the ice and puts the guy in ice.
The ice for that one guy.
For some reason where I don't understand how he knows there's money being hidden on an island. I don't get that. So I don't. Yeah, John. Way to back me up. Way to back me up, John. Yeah. I know I was right. So he puts him on ice so he can do the whole short-term memory nonsense that doesn't work, which is dumb. Like that was part of his plan all along. And then he steals a box of money, which I don't get where we found that from unless I missed it. I mean, I was paying attention in this movie.
All he says is there's a meeting at 5 a.m.
Exactly. And then that translates to,
well, I think maybe the meeting was at that one where that one boat was, and they were going to take that boat out to the meeting place. But who knows? No, nobody knows.
And then we have the Jack Reacher ending where he goes on the bus like he's gonna go to another Roadhouse. Like I travel the country and I become a bartender.
The whole point should have been like he finds a home where he doesn't feel like he wants to kill himself anymore. And instead it's like, oh nope, let me leave it, and then I'm just gonna travel, be depressed again. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, we agreed, John. We were talking about third act, second act problems. It falls apart a lot further before that too. It's just a lot of stuff that just kind of doesn't. It's not. I'm talking myself out of this movie. I enjoy the fight scenes, even though the fight scenes are like hypersensitive. I read that they did multi-pass technique, which is just basically overlaying the images onto each other. But I think they also did a lot of quick cuts too, like when he punches and then the cut. They did a lot of that stuff, like cut within the scene.
There's some stuff that's really good, and then there's some stuff like the beginning of the final fight with Knox in the bar after the boat crash.
Yeah,
is all you can see the stunt doubles, which are all right if you want to.
That's fine.
Nowadays, you should be able to hide it a little better, but also they do like blurry cuts or you can't see because there's obstacles in front of where you're trying to see. It does a lot of weird cinematography that I don't like because it looks like they're actually swinging punches, but the way the camera is just doesn't focus. And then like maybe 30, 40 seconds into that fight, then it cleans up and they never go back to those weird images again. It's like the editor started with it and then Doug Liman was like, oh, that's crap. But we already have it. So keep that 40 seconds in, just don't do it for the rest of the fight. Let's go just steady cam and then the quick cuts and stuff.
Yeah. And like the Frankie character, which I wanted to bring up Jessica Williams because I'm gonna again pitch you to go watch Shrinking because she's in Shrinking with Harrison Ford and I'm blanking on his name.
Jason
from
Segel.
How I Met Your Mother. Jason Segel. She's very good in that show, and she's good in here. But there's a part in here where like she leaves it's almost like okay when she leaves the Roadhouse. So and then Knox goes in and has the big fight that you were talking about, the fight that they had.
Right.
She leaves the Roadhouse to go yell at Brant. It's almost like in the script. It was like, okay, so Frankie leaves. Why? Well, we have to get you out of there. Why? We just don't want you there during the fight. Like
I thought the exact same thing.
We need you to be.
Never
We need you to be hysterical in the parking lot for some unknown reason. Like you grew up with Brant, but we're not telling anybody you grew up with Brant. Stuff like that.
Where is she during the fight? Brant drives off. What does she do? Grab onto the door and like let the car go? Like she should be like seeing the fights all happening.
It's dumb. It's stupid.
And then
and like the parking lot is like 100 yards away, and she can't get back in time to realize that her entire bar is getting just like. That's the other thing. John doesn't like the fights. That's the other thing. Like when they're fighting, when the bar fight starts. When one dude's like bar fight, what do we? And then we're on the canoes.
Oh yeah,
I have that. And then we're climbing the clint.
I have noticed like here. Do bar fights work like that? Is it like a food fight? You just declare it, and then you can literally just punch the guy next to you, and then they start fighting. Some people are fighting the people they were sitting with, which doesn't make any sense. So yeah,
what is this place called again? Coral Keys or Crystal Keys or something?
Glass Key.
Glass Key. Maybe Glass Key is just a pit. Maybe it's just people that live there shouldn't be living there. Like maybe it's just a bunch of like no good. Like that's what it makes it out to be. Like it's just a town of I
mean, I always thought the Keys
no
were
good nicks.
Mostly rich people, but had vacation spots. But I guess I was wrong.
John, you're calling out a Razzie already? I mean, it's March. I think
he was all right.
Yeah, here's my thing with Conor McGregor. In the first maybe like 15 minutes of his performance, I'm like, are they ADRing him? Like, is this somebody else's voice? Because this doesn't sound like him. And maybe I just don't hear him enough, or maybe he was trying to not be as thick with his accent, but it's still in there. It didn't sound like him to me. Did you like what?
I mean, he's saying everything behind this weird,
smile.
So he's always everything he's saying is gonna have like this weird smile voice to it because
he's got a career in just being like a baddie. Like, go ahead, go be a James Bond villain or something. Yeah.
Like, I could see him going like, obviously he has to tone it back from this, or just do more over the like. Be in Fast and the Furious is the next Fast and Furious bad guy because that's kind of what he is.
I'm tired.
When he
of those,
popped up in Italy, there's one more left. You're almost done till the spin.
Maybe he will be family.
Like that, like him appearing in Italy reminded me. Him in Italy reminded me of when we were introduced to Jason Segel's character in Fast and Furious when he just goes to the hospital and finds his brother in the hospital bed and then just kills everyone in the hospital for no reason. Like, I'm like, okay, so Conor McGregor is a Fast and Furious villain in this. Like, I'm waiting for Dalton to join Vin and his Vin and Ludin crew.
Well, no, he would. You haven't seen the last one. You haven't seen the last one where Jason Momoa is the bad guy where he's dancing. He's running around going, yeah.
You told me about it. Painting fingernails on dead bodies.
Whatever. It's just dumb. It's just, again, choices for unknown reasons. We're making these character choices because we think they're funny.
Listen, I'm not defending the movie. I'm defending it from people who would also say that Roadhouse is a superior movie to like the nth degree. I'm saying they're both bad movies, but they are enjoyable in how bad they are. It's not like I didn't have fun watching the badness.
Yeah. To be fair, Mrs. Butler, we don't think that this is a good script as well. It's supposed to be fighting, and that's it. But I don't think we were expecting a lot of. We weren't expecting, Oscar material here.
I got essentially what I was expecting. Maybe, but I think it does.
You didn't like it
here. No, I mean I enjoyed watching it, but no, I didn't like it. I don't think it was a great movie. I think Roadhouse in and of itself isn't a great movie, and I think that's why people like it, because it's quintessentially 80s cheese and that it needs to stay there. That's not something that it was always like we talk about with trying to remake Ghostbusters, exactly how Ghostbusters is. It's always going to be you're always going to fall flat from remaking something like that because it is a movie all its own. It can't be redone.
So in the main show, starting May 1st, we always ask, is this something you would recommend, or who would you recommend this to? So I'd like to ask that here, since we're critical of this film. Like, is this something you would kind of recommend to anybody? Okay, go check out Roadhouse. Would you?
If somebody's like, oh, I'm really bored, I'll be like, listen, you're gonna watch it. You're not gonna you're gonna watch the train wreck. It's not an unwatchable film. We've watched unwatchable films before. It's not a film where you're like, just afterward you're like,
I love
this is
everything we watch, Butler. I enjoy everything we watch.
But yeah, I mean, it's quick. If you're looking for like a shut your brain off movie, this is definitely one of those.
It's quick. It's 2 hours. 2 hours and 4 minutes.
I mean, it doesn't feel like long. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find too many movies outside of like horror movies now that are under, 120 minutes. It's just, you're not going to find those. No one knows how to cut a movie anymore.
Right. Can you hear my dogs barking?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I can't help that. I have dogs, people. Okay. This is live. They're barking because my wife's getting home from her big nerd fest where she was out today. So she read this book that's like about dragons or something, and she had her friends all read them. I don't know, and they had a big nerd fest tonight. So she's been doing that. So I can't stop the dogs from barking. They'll stop. That's that. And what's funny is the loudest is the smallest, and he's a pain in the butt. All right, so I agree with you. I think there's better movies to watch. I think if you're looking for an action film, even though John thinks the action is lame, there is action in there. So I think there's probably better things out there that you probably can do on a Saturday night. But yeah, so I'm wrapping up because I don't think these are Forgotten Cinema. They're now showing shouldn't be long.
No.
So before we go, I know I kind of like pumped the Patreon stuff. But if you want to kind of do that again, or you want to talk about the main show, or you want to talk about some of the episodes that we got coming up on season 17, have at it, Butler.
All right, hold on. All right.
Take a breath.
All right, let me try one of my new banners. Hold on. Boom. Yeah, that's right. And I got this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. I think the only people that are watching this right now, live anyway, already do. But if you're watching this after the fact, we would love if you liked and subscribed. That'd be great. Check us out on Forgotten Cinema Patreon, patreon.com/Forgotten Cinema. You can find these live streams are eventually going to become Patreon only. We haven't decided exactly when yet, but we figured our first few, as we're getting everything going, should be for everybody so that we can get more people to be interested in us. But we have our lead up series. Our Afterlife episode just dropped yesterday. Late yesterday, technically today. And we have another now showing, which is going to be on Tuesday, where we're going to talk about Frozen Empire. We're going to live stream that Tuesday night, 9:30. And then the next day, that's going to be available for everybody as well. So check all that up. Like Field said, we're going to do the Aliens movies later on the summer. We've got Planet of the Apes coming up for lead up. So we have a ton of Patreon content. And May 1st, we're coming back for our main show, the podcast, the commercials, everything. We're back. All this is for a commercial. So hopefully that'll be gone soon. I'm suffering for my art here. So check us out, subscribe, tell everybody you know.
Art,
all that good stuff.
I don't know if I say art, but yeah. All right, so yeah, that's it. Thanks. Hey, John, we're going Monday night. If you want to come if you want to see Frozen Empire in IMAX, just hit me up. We'll take that. I'm more than willing to have you come with us, man. All right, so everyone, thanks for joining us for the live. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this recorded, we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you like some of the clips that come out. Mike and I are pretty pleased with what's happening in terms of our. Mike and I are pretty pleased with what's happening in terms of our social stuff. Like we're kind of getting a lot of traction there. Your mother wants to get a haircut, Mike, so we'll get that going.
Everybody wants to.
So I love how you got to go to the salon, you fancy boy. All right, so I go
to Sports Clips.
Oh, there you go. All right, so we'll see everyone later. Thanks for watching. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler,
and this has been Forgotten Cinema, now showing Roadhouse. Well, the 2024 one.
Do you want to call it Roadhouse Prime since it's on Amazon Prime?
No, I don't want to call it Prime. Yeah, like
I don't know. Yeah. All right.
Bye, guys.